Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It's now 1:30 Eastern Time in the US, but we still do not have any viewers or those who we have invited. So we'll give them a few more minutes before we start. Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us. We are still waiting, so maybe we wait for another 4 minutes before we start. We will start after 5 minutes or 5 minutes after the start time, 1:35. Okay, we got 1 more minute to go. Okay, now it's 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So we'll start. Hello and welcome. My name is Ali Arang from the Institute of Technology. Today we are going to talk about RStudio, or we will walk you through RStudio from an installation, starting with installing RStudio, and then how to set up data science project folders. And then we will go around RStudio to show you some of the major features that you will always use when you are working within RStudio on your data science project. So first thing, I'm going to share my screen. And so this is RStudio. What I'm going to do, I'm not going to reinstall it because I have already installed RStudio and R running on my computer. You can see RStudio here. What I will do is just walk you through the steps for installing RStudio. I want to make sure that this is visible. To install RStudio, I will open Chrome. Okay, we are here in Chrome, and the first thing you do is you install R first, because RStudio sits on top of R, because R is what is doing the computation and everything in the under the hood. So you navigate to R project, and this the R project website, and here you will see getting started. Click on download R, and so there are mirrors that are used, and we recommend using the first one, which is the cloud. And then based on your machine or operating system, you will choose one of the three here. I'm using Mac OS, but I had previously, or I use Windows for my work. So just click on which version is based on your machine. So here I would click there, and there are two types or versions of R for those who use Mac OS, because there is the Apple Silicon Valley, which is the M1 or M2, M1 actually for Mac M1 and above, or ARM64, or the regular, the normal Intel MOS. So since I'm using this one, I would click on here. It's downloading, but I'm not going to mess with it. I'm just going to leave it like that. The other thing is RStudio or POSIT, Performer RStudio. It's recommended that you install these X quotes every time there is a major release or a major version of R has been released. When you are downloading R for the first time, you have to click this one to download it. So I will right click it. And then all you have to do is click here to download it. And when you download it, you have to follow the instruction, the steps that you see on your screen. Everything is the default settings. When that is done, now you can go back to your desktop, and for example, on my desktop, let me click here. On my desktop, let's see, this is RStudio. but that's not what I want. R is what we have downloaded, and this is what you will see when you have downloaded R. So this is R that we have downloaded. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Okay, it's not showing. So let me go back to our studio. Okay. Basically, when you downloaded R, then now you can go back to download RStudio. So let me go back here. And then all you have to do is just type RStudio. I always use RStudio Preview. And then click on it here. No, that's not what I want. Okay. So download RStudio. We need the free version. Then you can install it here, but I always scroll down and then select based on your okay, so that's not showing there. So let me go back here. Let me go back to stop sharing, then present, and now. Okay. Okay, so we will say RStudio preview, and then you can click here or come down. I'm not using Windows, I'm using MOS. So just click this here, download it, and then follow the instructions on the screen. When you are done, let me come back here. Then when you are done, now you open your RStudio, and then so the next thing we need to do after installing R and RStudio is setting up project folders. The best thing to do is always to have a dedicated folder on your desktop or in the documents. I use desktop. So for a specific project. To do that, you can either come here you can come here to File, and click New Project, or you can come here and then say New Project. This is what I always use. So I will click on New Project, and let me zoom in a little bit, zoom out. And then it will ask me to save this one. So let me say don't save. And then it's a new directory. If it is an existing directory, if you had already created that folder, then you can go to existing directory. Also for version control, if you use GitHub and Git and GitHub, then you can click on this. But we are just going to create a normal directory, new directory on our computer. Now, there are different ways to create a project depending on what it is. For example, is it an R package? Is it just a new project? How is it just a new project? Let's say we are taking a course and we would like to have a folder for that course on our computer. Or if you are creating a Chinese app, although people, usually data scientists and analysts, always create a new project and then create their Chinese app in there, or a project, quarter website, quarter blog, quarter book, and so on. But ours is just this. So I'll say YouTube R Studio demo. And it's saying, okay, I will create it on do I need to create a GitHub repository? No. Do I need to use the our environment? Not for this project. So I just click create. And now it has been created. You can see it here. And here we need to clear it. To clear this, you click the Control L to clear it, or just type clear. And now what we can do is to add folders. So I recommend doing it this way. So this is where we are, the folder we need. For example, when we want to include the data set, so we can start with 00 and then say input folder. And then when a folder, when we have where we store all the clean data sets, so we can say output folder. The reason I'm doing the numbering them like this is so that I know which folder comes first when I'm working on the data science project. The next one, maybe 02, let's say this is going to be R, where we keep our R scripts. And then maybe 03, where we keep the graphics. And then maybe what else? Okay, maybe that's enough. And then when we are done there, now you can come in here and then add your data set. And then always go back up. And now every time when you are working on this project, all you have to do is come here and then open that project. You open the project, or you will see it in the list here. Just click it and then open it up. And then you start writing. So before we start writing, you may want to customize your RStudio themes and everything like that. You see here mine has this dark background, but it doesn't come like this. It comes with a white background. So we have to go up here to Tools, and then go to Global Options. And in Global Options, we see the general here. Some of these we don't have to click. This we have to set to never. And then let's see graphics. We leave it like that, advanced. Okay, and then now let's go to code, and code, there's this that auto detect code indentation, and then now using the native pipe operator, you have to select this. You have to, when you are using R version 4.1, you have to select use native pipe. That way you don't have to type the percent greater than percent that deploy R pipe. And then select some of these according to your need, and then click apply or click OK. And then the console, mostly this is where we do a lot of settings, the appearance. So appearance, we have theme. Now we have only two options on Mac, which is modern and sky. I am using modern. I have zoomed out a lot so that you can see this, what I'm presenting on the screen. That's why it is showing 100% or 250%, but I always use 100%. Edit a font, you can change it based on your preference. Some people use the default font. And then rendering, here I'm just using default. Font size, I'm using 12. We can use for the presentation, we can use 14. And then themes, there are these themes here. You choose based on your preference. I think maybe material, it might be new. I'll try it out. But I'm using Tomorrow Night 80s. And then, so let me try this material theme. And then I'll come down and click apply and click OK. Now this is that theme up here. Then I will go back to tools because we are not done. And so we have just talked about its appearance, and there are layout based on, so there are 4 windows within RStudio session. This window here is the RStudio session. So this is where you write your scripts. And then on this side, there is environment. Whenever I import data, it will be displayed here. If I write some functions and import and save them, everything that I do within the session is going to show here. Connections will show for connecting to the databases, and build, and so on, tutorial. There are times when you create, like when I create the R and RStudio website, I created within RStudio, so you can use the build. And then on the bottom left is the console where we write directly, or everything that we write in the source window is print out here. And then the files on this side where you see the files, you see the plots, packages, and so on. I want to leave it the way it is, so I'm gonna click OK to leave it like that. Now let's go back to tools again and see what else do we have. Packages, R Markdown, Python. Yeah, Python is another one. So before, or like a couple of years ago, RStudio introduced a package called Reticulate for implementing Python in R. And there used to be a different way to set it up, but now it can be detected. The environment can be detected, or the version of R that you have on your computer can be detected. There are several ways of downloading or installing Python that I'm not going to go into. But usually it is recommended that you use the Miniconda because it's straightforward. So my computer is using this Python version 3.10.6, and I can run Python script, and I will show that shortly. There is also spelling and GitHub, publishing, terminal, and so on. So, but that's all I wanted to show you on that side. Now coming in here, we have seen on top, these are where you have the files to open files on your computer, edit, code, view, session. You can create a new session, you can terminate our session, you can restart it, and so on. Here, I don't recommend setting the working directory like that. That's why I show you how to create a project folder so that every time you open that folder, you are working directly within it. And then you can quit, you can clear, and so on. And also under tools, we see here we can install packages. So when you have installed your R and then RStudio, you need to install the packages that you would be using in your project. I usually install Tidyverse, which has a lot of packages in it. And so you just type it in like that and click install, and it would be installed in this directory here. I already have it installed. Sometimes people just will install individual packages, for example, ggplot2, and you see as I type, there is an auto completion and suggestion coming up, so then click install. That's one way to install packages. You can also grab a link to install a developmental version or development version of a package from GitHub and then install it. Here you can also install a package here by typing install packages, and then you have to use the quotations and then say maybe tidy R and then install it. I have already installed it, so I'm not going to do that. Also, going back to tools, we can check if there are any package updates. So there's this package that has an update. I'm not going to install it now. And then when we can go to help to get some help, but I come here usually to check the status, the version of my RStudio. This is the latest version of RStudio that was recently released. And you can also go and say, check for updates on RStudio. There are no updates. Another place you can install packages is here. You can come here and say packages, and you can update them here. You see all the packages that you have on your computer. Some of them came with the computer like base R. Some of them are the users packages that you installed. And then you can click install here, and then again, gg text, and click install, and that's another way you can install it. So there are 3 different ways you can install it: by just doing it in the console or here, or going to tools and install packages. There's a terminal here where we can click a terminal, and then we can also browse add-ins. Here we can add in extensions. You see some of these here that you can add. These are already there. I recently added this GPT Studio, and I haven't had it work properly, but I don't need it anyway. So, but I was trying to see if it was going to work. There is also this grammar R. It's something that I installed and other packages. So this is the add-ins. And then let's go back to tools. And then the keyboard shortcuts help. On Mac, you can do this option key and the option key. Let me see if that is the home key. I'm not seeing it here. Option. Okay, I'm not seeing that other button on my computer. Maybe it is an upper arrow, upward pointing arrow, and then command OK to do it, but I don't use it. There are important shortcuts that you must know at Alt. you must keep at your fingertip. And these are to insert our code chunk. So let's come here. Let's say we create a project. So we are going to create a document, a Quattro document. Or before I go there, so when you click here, you will see that there is R script, and there is Quattro document, Quattro presentation, and then R notebook, R markdown. So previously I was using R markdown. I've used R notebook just a couple of times, but now Quattro is the modern version of R markdown. So the company R Studio, which is now opposite, is moving away. They will still maintain or keep R markdown, but it will not be updated with the newest features or new features. What will be updated going forward in the Quattro? So I have adopted Quattro and I use it. I can give it a title, maybe R Studio overview. I can give it the author name, so I can put in my name. I have option here to choose HTML. So the default format here is the HTML. And then I can choose a PDF, Word document, etc. And then in the engine, I can need R when I'm working with R, or I can choose Jupyter if I want to use pure Python. If I want to use Python and R in the same document, I can need it and then use reticulate to implement Python. And then click create. Now we have created this one. This is called the YAML, the top of your document. There are other options that you can add here depending on what you want to do. You can add the date. And date today is 04/02/2023. I can also see how I want the date formatted. Maybe let's say full, and so on. You see here, there is an outline here because as you create your document, you can indicate whether you have the title, the heading, or heading 1, 2, and so on. Good thing about Quattro now, we are in a visual editor, but you can go to source, which is here, and then you can do. I love working in the visual editor because it's just straightforward using just Markdown. So we can delete everything we have here by highlighting it and then click clear. This is heading 2, but we can change it to heading 3 by just doing 3 pounds and say maybe hello world, something like that. And I can also create the / key, and it will give me the options like, what do I want? Do I want the R code chunk, Python code chunk? Do I want to add a division and everything else that I can just think of here? Let's say we want to add a R code chunk. So this is one way we can do it when we are in a visual editor, or we can come up here and then click add, or we can click on a Mac, we can click Shift Option I. Oh, okay. Hold on. Okay. So I don't want these. Okay. Okay, so I struggle with it a little bit. On Mac is Option Command I. So let me come here. Add or good chunk. Shortcut. So you do Option plus Command plus I. This is on Mac. On PC is Shift Alt or Control Alt I, and then so that these are the three ways of doing that. I love working in Visual Editor so that I can just click the / and add a code chunk, and then so now let's say we look at so MCOR's data is already available in R. If I do, I can see it like this. Now we can say hit to see the top of the data, the first rows. Okay. Let me see. Okay, let me load tidyverse. So this is how you load the package in R. You call the library function and then load it. Now this has been loaded. You see how it is showing the packages.r in tidyverse, deploy R, read R, forecasts for working with categorical data, string R for working with strings, and then ggplot2 for visualization, tabled, which is like data frame, modern data frame, date for working with dates or date data or strings. It was recently added to the tidyverse. And tidy R for tidying the data, and then per for like functional programming in R. I can, because I don't want to see these messages, so what I can do is in Quarto, you can click the pound and then the vertical sign and say, okay, don't show me any warnings, and set it to false, enter, and then messages. We want to set it to false. And now when I run this, we are not going to see those messages. So this is what you do. And then now let's look at this. So let's say, so what I was doing, I was mixing up R with Python. Python, you call a dot on a data object. I was calling dot hit, which is a Python way of doing it, but that's not R. So R, you use a pipe or you wrap it in there. So as of deploy R, I think 1.0, this is when the slice underscore hit, slice underscore tail were introduced. But you could accomplish the same objective by just calling the hit from base R. And then this. So we see that these miles per gallon, cylinder, and so on. We can do a lot of things here with this data set. But basically, this is how you load the package. And then in R, so let me come down to the console here. In console, I can do a lot of things. So I can say 3 multiply, but to multiply you use the star. So 3 multiplied by 5, that will give me 15. Now, it is advisable to use spaces when you are writing, so for readability. Then I can do 6 divided by 2, just using that forward slash, or I can do 6 minus 9. Sorry, I think that's not a minus. 6 minus 9, or 8 plus 5. I can also do 5 so modulo, if I don't want a remainder, then 5 divided by 2 is just 2. And as you can see, we can say 5 divided by 2, that would be 2.5. But when we use the modulo, we truncate it and only get the whole number. I can also set values. So in R, the way we do the assignment operator is this less than and then the dash or minus. You can use equal sign, but the norm, the standard is that you use this operator. And then I can set it x equals 6. And you will see it here under the environment that x has been assigned the value 6. Now I can assign y equal 3. And because I now have this here in my environment, what I can do, I can say x raised to y, and we use that caret. And you will see that is 216. So what did I do? I said 6 raised to 3. What about y raised to x? You can do that. Now let's say I say x raised to z, but we have not defined z anywhere. When we do that, it will give us an error saying object z not found. If we want to use a z, then we can assign it a value. And now I can go back up by pressing the upper arrow, tracing up. And then when I do, now I get this giant number here. I can also create a string by saying x is equaled using R and RStudio. Now, that's a string, and you can see it there. And if I call x, then it will show me this one. Now, what we have done here, we have overwritten x, because x, we had assigned x to the value 6, or we had assigned value 6 to x, but now we overrode it by just assigning this string to x. So this is what you do in RStudio, and then now you can save your work. If this was our serious work, then we could go back up to File, Save As, and we want to give it a name. Since this is code, I can call it code, because this is where we are keeping codes. And then codes, we keep them in the R folder. And then click, now you save it, and it is there. I can close it. I can clear my console. And then next time when I come, I go to Files, under R, I click Code, will open up, and then I start working here. I can do a lot of things here. So we have said to assign a header, you can do one for heading 1, for header 1. Need to add a space, header 1, 2 for header 2, and so on. You can also create bold letter by using underscores, or by putting double star. Let's write it backward. We can italize it by just using one underscore or one star. We can add list by saying this one, this two. I just press a plus, or I can do a Dutch like that to add another list. Go list 2A, list 2B, etc. I can come out here. No, I can come out here, and then let's say what else? I can do a star, and then I can write whatever I want to write here. So basically, this is what I wanted to share with you all. It's important you set up your project folder, and that's where you will always come back when you are making updates to that folder or that project. This saves you from having to always set the working directory. We can check here. I can come here and say, okay, now use the year package. Check where we are. And you will see that we are here, users, my name, desktop, and this is where we are. Let's say, okay, I think I'm just going to keep it simple. Then when you are done, you can save here. And it is done. Now, good thing about our quad show is I can add, like here, I can click here and say insert. I can insert anything, code chunk, table, or image. So I can insert image by browsing. And then I will go to my desktop. I will go to get a logo. I can give it a caption, say JIT logo. Can also give it an alternative text or tip JIT logo. Click OK, and now it is here. I can also go somewhere on my desktop, copy a photo and drop it in there. So let me see if I can get a photo to drop. Okay, now I just copied another photo, and then I'll do Command V on my desktop. It's not doing it. Okay, so did I get it? Okay, it's not doing it, but you can copy and paste images into your Quadro document. Okay, so we are about to hit 1 hour mark. So I will stop it here, basically just getting started in RStudio. What we have done, we have shown you how to download R. I didn't go through the process. I just showed you where to go, download it, and then follow the instructions on the screen. And then downloading RStudio, which is the IDE where you worked in. After that, I've shown you around how to create a project folder or how to customize RStudio by going to tools and going to global options, and then you choose based on what you want to set. Mostly where we do a lot of changes is the appearance, where you set your RStudio theme, the zoom level, editor font, editor font size, and then selecting setting the theme. Let me try this theme here. Okay. So this is the theme here. It's a little bit greenish. So I'll go back to tools, global settings, appearance. I think I will keep using that material theme. And then I showed you how to create a new project folder, and then add folders into that. Another thing, so let's see, this image had been added here, but when we go to the top of, you see here, so one thing we could have done is maybe we could have created the folder for images, and let's say we call it 4 images. And you can move things around from each folder to another folder within RStudio. So I can go back, let's go back to where we had that image. So it's here. It's not supposed to be here. I can select it, then come here. I can copy it to or move it to. Here, let's just copy it to. It will ask us, where do we want to copy this to? If you come on the left side here, we want to copy it here, and then we will save it. When we go back up, we come to images, we see that image, we have moved it here. So basically, this is how you get started in RStudio. If you have questions, you can let me know. And unfortunately, nobody showed up. So, but the recording is going to be there on our channel. So thank you. Take care. Happy coding. Bye.